Hi, I'm Phin, and my project is about applying models of collusion to international relations. During the COVID pandemic, we've seen examples of both international conflict and international cooperation. The first ever issuance of mutualised EU debt in a €750 billion next generation EU package is undoubtedly a strong showing of international cooperation. However, the failure of countries to equitably share vaccines, which has resulted in a Gini coefficient in total vaccinations per capita of 0.75, has been a showing of international conflict. It turns out that models of collusion can be used to explain this diverse range of behaviours. This model uses an infinitely repeated game in which each round firms must decide between continuing to earn a share of the collusive profits or deviating, which earns higher short-term gains but incurs a punishment in future rounds. Comparing the present value of expected future profits from both strategies, as in this inequality, will allow us to analyse what strategy choice a firm will make. Thinking about how different market characteristics affect the different aspects of the inequality allow us to see how these characteristics will affect the sustainability of collusion. For example, future profits in a more volatile market are weighted less heavily as there is more uncertainty, so delta will be lower and collusion will be less likely. Governments conducting international relations actually have many similarities to firms, which allows us to apply this model. So just as we can conceive of the firm acting to maximise its profits, we can conceive of a government as acting to maximise political rents, which may arise from improving their country for its own sake, as well as for its electoral benefits. Also, just how firms interacting in a market is an infinitely repeated game. Governments conducting international relations is also an infinitely repeated game. Governments also frequently face choices between high short-term gains at the expense of the future, or higher gains over time at the expense of the present. This means we can apply the same method of analysis to determine what factors facilitate international cooperation, as we do to determine what factors facilitate collusion between firms. So now let's apply the model to vaccine nationalism and mutual debt issuance. Next generation EU will be fully paid out by 2027, but the debt will not be fully paid back until 2058. This means the costs are more heavily discounted than the benefits, which will serve to increase delta and therefore make cooperation more likely. Political rents from cooperation between EU states are also amplified because of their high degree of economic interdependence. With vaccine sharing, discounting works in the opposite direction, as in the long term, new variants might be prevented from emerging, but in the short term, higher levels of restrictions have to be imposed for longer. Since vaccine sharing is a global rather than a purely European policy, the positive effect of economic interdependence may not be as strong. So, what general implications does this have? Firstly, we see how discounting makes it difficult for governments to enact policies which have long-term benefits but short-term costs. This is at the heart of many contemporary political problems, such as climate change. International institutions could help here by trying to change payoff structures. Secondly, the positive effect of economic interdependence on cooperation shows the importance of trade not only for its direct economic benefits, but also because of its political ones.